it's the most wonderful time of year in New York City. Lots of love, warm conversations, and a little bit of chaos. If you've ever wondered what it's like to be a small business vendor in a New York City holiday market, come along with me as I share my journey and one of them. I hope you enjoy. Take everything off so we can get to the tablecloth first. And we have our big tablecloth is in this one. I've opted to choose the stretchy one because it doesn't wrinkle as much. So I used to have the other ones I really liked that are like squared, but they wrinkle so much. This one does not wrinkle as much. So it always looks really good. And we're gonna have to find the sign, which is I think in my backpack. I didn't prep it in time for this. Oh, here's the sign. Okay, I did have it in. Perfect. So I saw this on Pinterest, and if you're ever looking for inspiration, I highly recommend Pinterest. I saw this, which was a magnetic sign, and so it just goes on the front of my booth, and I just have magnets, so I'm just gonna pop them all on the back. Centering's a little off, but I got this. I've also been making a lot of my own things, so this is actually a little like checkout stand that I made myself. And it also has like a business card holder and everything. It's like super cute. I'm absolutely in love. And I made that myself, which is so awesome. Okay. And I know it's going to go here because I did a mock setup yesterday, which is really helpful to kind of know what on earth I'm doing here today. Oh no, I forgot to put these on. Okay, hold on. We're going to raise our table if we can. Biggest thing is trying to find the feet. Okay. One foot and the other foot. Perfect. Okay, now that's so much better. So much better. It also helps with my back too. So like when I'm doing all the digital stuff, I'm not hunching over as much. Do want to make sure though I'm in line with the other vendors because I don't want to be standing out like a sore thumb. Now I'm just gonna take stuff out because now I need to start to see stuff. Specifically things like my boxes, which are going to be holding stuff or like raising stuff up. This is a lot of like final details. This one here. Okay, I think a lot of this is, yeah, a lot of this is like actual product and stuff. I just realized I don't know where my custom head portrait thing is. I hope it's in one of these things because that's going to be real sad. Like, real sad. Magnets are always one of the first things to go up in my stuff. It just works that way. This, because this has got some of my shelving. Okay. And the biggest thing I'm nervous about is I don't know how I'm balancing my new display for silhouettes. We're gonna take all the boxes out because we're gonna collapse this. It's no longer need our cart right now, and it's just gonna be in the way. Trying to space everything out. We're gonna tuck it back here. Sometimes it's not perfectly like secure or flat, and it worries me with people. like if they're grabbing stuff and touching it, it's just gonna like collapse. I actually use my cart to brace it in the back so it doesn't hopefully do anything dumb, which it hasn't yet. So it's good. Okay. So only thing is my outlet is all the way over there, which is giving me a little bit of concern that maybe I should reverse it. At the same time, I don't really want to because the hose, I think it will be fine. We're gonna have to see though. This might be a disaster. Okay, this is actually where this is gonna go. And I have in my backpack. Oh, and we have the new signs for the keychain rack, which is great. And I have my Venmos to add into my new thing. Very exciting. This is meant to go here. This is the idea, at least. We're gonna see how this works today. I'm a little nervous. And the idea is my other thing is supposed to go here, but I'm not gonna put that up yet because I need to put something to brace the back of it so it doesn't like fall over. Because that's what I'm worried about. All right, some display pieces ready to go. This is our little ornament stand here. These shelves up, which I don't know how I'm doing because I have a different sign today for my like pet portrait sign that y'all have seen in like many other videos. I'm gonna see how that's gonna go up. It's smaller, it's lighter. I plan to do magnets, but we'll see how that goes. And the idea is that my square reader is supposed to go here. I have my other reader as well. Now I've got to figure out how to set up this pegboard, but I have so many boxes and things everywhere. It's kind of driving me up the wall. And my coat. And my coffee. Oh my gosh, my coffee's on the ground. The organizer of this event knows me very well now, so I think she understands my needs very well and knows how to optimally give me the space that I need. So she's really great about that, and I really appreciate her. I think I've mentioned before that I thought she didn't like me in the beginning because, I don't think she was prepared for like what I do, which is totally understandable. Like she had no idea about my setup. And I always get a 6-foot space. And actually when I first started, I ended up with a 4-foot space, which is no good. So even though y'all are probably like, oh no, that table is so small. Yes, the table is a 4-foot and I am in a 6-foot space though, because I have to account for this thing, which, oh dear. Okay, that's interesting. Some of the screws came out. Is not great for stability. Now we're going to start working on the custom setup because now all the things are up. It's really easy to put my keychains up once that's done, so I'm not worried about it. This is my new little sign. It's super tiny, and I put magnets on the back, which I absolutely love. So what I'm going to do with the magnets is I'm just going to tape them actually onto the board and then magnetize it that way, which maybe it isn't the smartest. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh, I think it's because this one is actually repelling. Probably if I liked this setup, I will just... Okay, we did it. Whew. Okay, that took way longer than I anticipated. But if I like this setup here, I might just make it so that it's a permanent fixture. But it is what it is right now. We also have 2 pets. Now the other thing is my coasters. We have our sign, which we always have. We now have 2. So I'm hoping that the really beautiful ornaments that I made will sell more today because I made like a sign that explains how they work. And I think we're just gonna tuck it. Oh, we could even maybe, oh, no, not quite. Okay, it can sit right in front, so that's good. And then I think I'm gonna put the coasters here, which will be fine. And then we put our signs up. Okay. Ooh, 30 minutes, okay, we're good, we're good. They're very kind. They also let us know at this location when doors are gonna open, so we have 30 minutes, that's great. We're doing really good on time. I also have an ornament to show the back side of it. Oh, Because I don't think people realize they could personalize them. Oops, this might be too, no, it's not too high. Okay. I was a little worried it was going to be too high because I thought it was going to cover the ornaments here. Sorry, not the ornaments, the magnets. But it looks like it'll be okay. Except for the facts. Actually, I wonder if I even need the easel. I like the easel, but honestly, I made it and it's not right. I do like the height though. I like the height of the ornaments because it catches your eye. And again, it's a season for ornaments, so I want ornaments to go. Like I want people to purchase them. So I'm trying to get more sales of ornaments. I think also just naturally being the holidays will also help it push the ornaments, but you know, you never know. I never know what to expect. Obviously, I've done this market before and it has been good for me from a financial perspective. It's not as good as another one that I'm doing later, but also the last time I did this one, it wasn't the holidays. So I'm really excited about that because again, never done the holidays here and I think it'll be really good. It's a very neighborhoody, this area. Pricing up, we need to put up our Polaroids of the pets because I like to add the Polaroids of pets. It just gives it like, that's my decorating without decorating, if you know what I mean. Like I literally have a whole garland at home that I did not bring. I don't even know like where to put it on my table setup. Like I feel like it's too much. So instead, I also just do little Polaroids around of all the pets so people can see them and I can tell them because people are always like, you know, someone could start a business and not actually be like a part of it, you know? I like to put the Polaroids out so I can like talk about them because I do have 4 pets. You know what I need to do? I need to also tape down my Shopify reader. Actually, that's a lie. I don't want to tape the reader down. I want to tape the stand so the stand can't move around as much. That might be the answer. Okay. Okay, now that's it. That's everything set up here, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. So now we're gonna move over to actually organizing the back, and then I think I'm gonna set up, actually that's a lie. We can set up our little signs for our keychains here. I've got cats and dogs, and more dogs. I have a lot of dogs. I need more cat designs, so let me know if there's a cat you want to see. And I use tape for everything. Tape is your best friend. I use blue painter's tape because it just doesn't leave as many marks. And we're going to put cats in the back because I want cats to be seen if somebody looks there. Okay, I think that's all of our signage that needs to go up. I have a spare one of Lucy, but I have her like winter jacket on, so she's good for now. Okay. Now we're gonna deal with the chaos that's back here. Y'all are not gonna see this because I was thinking I don't have to have my box up back here because I was like, oh, I can put the purifier on something else, but I realized I can't do that because the hose for like to connect the two is a bit short, and so I have to consider that with all of this, which is a little insane. So I gotta take everything out of this box anyway because I need all this stuff. Okay, and then we're gonna replace it with stuff I don't need, which I don't know what that is right now. How do I do all this? How do I organize? How do we organize here? Organization is also very key when you're at a market or when you're doing any kind of retail situation, honestly. Organization is key. Now, obviously, oh no, dropping all my ornaments. Obviously, that takes time to figure out what works for you. And I totally get that. So don't expect to be a rock star off the get-go. I am still to this day figuring out what the heck I'm doing. My issue I do have to test is that the laser is actually going to meet the thing over there. I actually have 4 outlets, which is amazing. I actually have an adapter now because sometimes I end up at a place, I'll get electricity, and it's 1 outlet. And that's actually the case at one of the other events I do for them. And it's just because of the location, the way it's like they have to run extensions and all this stuff. So they actually set up electric for you. Whereas here, obviously in the building, it is what it is. So I'm not as concerned about that. Okay, let me just make sure that that electricity is working because if it's not, okay, yeah, electricity there. Perfect. Funny enough, I realized I could use my Apple wires to connect the purifier to the laser. So that was great because this one's like 10 times longer than the one that I was using. And I was like struggling the last time I was at a market and I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful. But I was like, oh my God, I can use this one that's like 3 times the size. So now I don't have to worry about that, which is amazing. 5 check. 10:37. Oh, 10:37. Okay. Whew. I was like, what? Okay, we're okay. We are okay. We're doing great. I think the front is pretty clear, which is good. The only thing I'm very, very concerned about is these silhouettes I have to put up, which I've told you guys multiple times. And mainly it's because I know I need to put some sort of weight in the back of this thing so it doesn't fall over because that's giving me a heart attack right now. That it's just going to be a disaster. Okay, this box is empty too, so empty box in the box. So the one thing too I love about the boxes that you guys saw is that they're actually collapsible. So they're not as big as some of like the clear bins, but they are collapsible, which I love. Okay. Whoops, see, that's what I was worried about. We'll see how that goes. It's a little tall too, which I don't like. It is going to block me, but at the same time, I feel like it's demonstrating those ornaments a lot better. And again, my hope and goal is that we will sell a bunch of ornaments. So it's kind of like unnecessary evil in a way that I need to have that there. So we'll see. Hello. Thank you. Wi-Fi tickets. Especially for me because I actually need it because of my computer. So now we're gonna get so all the electronics are now getting set up. Hello, as you guys will be able to tell, I am in the room. We are back home from the first day of the market. I don't think I talked about that when I actually was setting up, was that this is a 2-day market. So I'm there Saturday, which is what I did today. I set up. And then tomorrow is Sunday. We are able to leave our stuff overnight at this particular vendor market, which is awesome. So in New York City too, some of the vendor markets, you can leave your stuff overnight if it's a 2-day market. And then there are some, AKA one I'm doing later this month, where you have to break down your stuff and bring it back the next day. That one is not going to be fun, but it is my final market of the year. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it because it's really good sales wise, that market. And I'm like, we're just going to do it because I make good sales. But here in New York City, it's pretty traditional that if it is a 2-day market, you can leave your stuff overnight. Usually, what people do, which I'll try to get some clips in the morning, is cover either their whole display or parts of their display, kind of depending on what you're doing. So, a lot of people have like breakables or something, they might put a cloth over it, or if they do candles or something, they put a cloth over their whole display. For me, I don't put a cloth over my whole display because a lot of my display items are exactly that, they're display items. So the only thing I do cover are my keychains, though. I do cover those. Also because it just protects if there's any like dirt or dust. So I could essentially throw something over my other stuff, but also my custom fit portrait stand, like things can fall off really easily. So I just don't cover it for some reason. But anywho, sometimes I'll break it down though, or like turn it around or something. I didn't do that today when I left because honestly, I was just trying to like figure out what I'm doing. If you guys can hear some of a whirring noise in the background, that is because my machine is on. I am actually making more ornament bases, which makes me so happy because obviously ornaments are a seasonal thing. I only have them right now in the season, and that's why my display too is a bit tall. So if you guys will notice, I will show you guys a clip tomorrow. My pretty much my display is super high. So I lifted the table to be higher because that just is easier on my back because I have the computer and I have to do all this like technical stuff. And when the table is very low, I'm having to hunch over the whole time and it just gets really, really hard on my back. So that is another reason I raised the table. It is for my own sake and sanity as well to have a higher table, which is also why I do my own setup at times, which I'll try to capture another market where I will be bringing my whole own setup. My kiosk stand, the one you guys saw in my holiday prep, that one, it's like tall enough. And there's a reason that that is the one that I work off of because it's high enough that I'm not like hunching over the whole time when I have to do the work. But raising the table also means that my displays are higher. I'm not very tall. I'm 5'3". So the problem is with them being raised up, and I actually raised up my laser. I could probably flip it. I actually just realized. And I could probably lower the laser a little bit so people can see my face. Because that's part of the issue, is that like no one can see me really behind my stand now, which is really difficult. And so I'm kind of like, I feel bad. Like people don't know I'm there because I'm like totally hidden behind half my stuff. But honestly, to me, it's fine. I much rather people be able to see. I actually sold three of the like silhouette ornaments, I call them. I think I sold three of them, which I think I have an example here I can kind of show you guys. I finally sold some of these, which makes me so happy because I put a lot of time and effort into these. These are beautiful pieces. I'm so proud of these ornaments, and they've just not been selling, which makes me really sad. Now, part of it, of course, might be that last weekend it was not officially holiday shopping season, so people weren't thinking about ornaments. It also might have been that my display wasn't clear enough. Today, this weekend, I've added a like display that talks about how this particular experience works so that people understand it, hopefully. But I mean, I got to sell four, so I was so happy with that. I also told them I could do custom. So actually what I did was one of them was a Yorkie, but she was like, can you make the tail more fluffy? Because it had like like almost like a husky swoop tail. So I did that. I just fixed that silhouette, cut that one out for her. I then also did the min pin. She was like, oh, but he has bigger ears. So I just elongated the ears. I also straightened them up a bit. And she got the min pin design custom as well. And then she also just got the short haired cat. So yeah, I think I did three in total. Oh no, someone got a golden retriever, which made me really happy. So yeah, I mean, I think people were like getting the idea of that one, which really makes me happy. They are so beautiful. I know some people might be like, well, why are both your ornaments the same price? Like clearly that one is got a lot much more work and like is more ornate. Yes and no. So the thing is, why they're the same price is that technically my custom pet portrait ornaments, they're a lot easier to make. I can also get more out of a piece of wood. So essentially cogs wise, this is cheaper. But time wise, it takes me about the same time as the other one, if not longer, because I'm making the custom portraits live, which can be anywhere from 5 minutes upward to 8 minutes, depending on the person and like how much feedback they have for me. Whereas these, on the other hand, yes, they take a lot longer to like put together essentially, and I can get less material out of each piece. At the end of the day, the assembly of this at my stand is so fast. Like, especially if they're picking one off the chart that I already have, I'm just taking that, I'm putting it on the base, and then I'm engraving the tag. It's like a minute job. It's so easy that is why they're the same price. Also, making them the same price allows me to do a bundle deal. So right now, I just have buy two ornaments for 50. So I am trying to do that like bundle deal because again, ornaments are seasonal. I don't have these all year round. It is only for right now. So that is why I'm really excited that we actually sold out of ornaments. But we only sold out, well, we didn't sell out. I still have, I think, four left of the custom pet portrait ornaments. But I'm going to make more because those are obviously very, very popular. And also, I just don't feel like putting in the time right now to do a bunch of the silhouette bases because, again, they do take more time here at the house. And so I just would rather focus my time on making more of these bases, which have been selling really well, and making sure I have enough of those at the market than the silhouette bases. Like if I have to take that down, I'll take that down. But if I run out of a custom portrait item really early or something like that, that would not be good. And I think I only have like four left. So I would run out potentially very early tomorrow if I don't restock my portrait ornament bases. So that's what we're doing right now. In general, the market was great. I had a big hiccup in the beginning and I did not film it, obviously. I didn't film most of my day there. I know, I'm so sorry, you guys, but I pretty much got slammed right off the bat. I didn't think about turning the camera on ever because, again, it was pretty much constant. Like, once I turned the camera off, maybe had like
maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max, where I was just kind of getting everything in order. It was all the final touches behind the booth, making sure everything was working properly. Of course, my purifier decided to act out. And what happens is that the X Tool F1 purifier will start beeping at you and it will stop working when it needs its filter changed. Mind you, it is due for its like large filter to be changed, but I was like, okay, I can probably get one more use out of it. So of course I brought it, and of course in the beginning it's doing this thing where it's going, it keeps stopping on me every few seconds, and so the problem is, of course, I ended up with a huge smoke cloud in my corner. I felt so bad. I felt so bad for my neighbors in the corner and everybody because I was like, oh my, literally I would look up and it was just smoke everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was because my purifier wasn't working properly. And so thankfully, I just kind of like shook it down. I don't know if anyone does this with ink, but like, you know, they say if you take an ink cartridge and it says it's almost low, if you like shake it, you can get a little more use out of it. So that's what I did. And I took the filter inside of it and I shook it and it worked. Then the rest of the day, thank goodness, I'm going to bring the new filter tomorrow and just replace it just to be safe because I don't want that happening again while I'm there, because the other problem too is then I have to constantly lean over, I have to press the button, and I have to like keep it going, and it just takes a lot of time, not nearly as efficient, and it doesn't even filter the smoke as well. So a lot of problems by not having my filter working. So I had that in the beginning, which was a huge hiccup, but thankfully got solved. I'm gonna take a sip of tea because it's cold outside. So as I mentioned in the video, in New York City, you are very close to your neighbors, which is why I felt so bad about the smoke, because it's not like, oh, I have a 10-foot tent, we like smoke, it's probably just gonna be in my vicinity. Like, it's in my vicinity. It's also gonna take over a little bit of whoever is next to me. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the vibe that happens. Most people don't mind the smell of my booth because it smells like a campfire, but again, minus the big smoke plume I had going on earlier today, typically it's not that bad. My neighbor on the left, very lovely, very sweet. He even had this like little extra table to put some stuff on. I think he also was using it for a while to like package the stuff on, which is actually genius personally. Like, small little table to package stuff on, love it. I am always struggling to try to package behind my table, but I make it work. I do purposely like shove stuff to the front of the table so that I have space in the back to like package. So he had this little table, and he was very sweet because originally it was out pretty far, but then I think he moved it over or he changed something, because I actually could go around my booth on the left side. If I'm facing you on the left side, I could go around it, which was actually really helpful because my right booth neighbors were not so kind and considerate. Now, I don't know what size booth they got, but as far as I know, I think that most of the booths there are 6x4 or 4x4. Actually, I don't even know if they have 4x4 at this place. I think everyone gets like a 6x4 at this one. I was just trying to figure out their thing. The thing is, they had like a changing tent as well. So that was like in the corner. That was the black thing you were seeing in the videos. And then they like set up their table to like jet out, and then they had like a little, they made like a little square, which was fine. Like, the table jutting out, I was a little bit worried about it, but I realized that like people could clear that and get back to my keychains, and I was okay with that. And then they had the changing booth, which was fine. Where it started to piss me off is they decided to take their chair and sit right next to the changing booth, which ended up putting them right next to my keychains. And so people didn't want to go back to look at the cats. Her husband was a little nicer because I actually saw him when people were interested. He would actually get up and like get out of the space so that they could come in, which made it more inviting. And that was very kind of him. I appreciate that. But she had no cares in the world. She just sat there the whole time. And I do think it hurt the keychain sales because nobody wanted to go check that out. But that's New York City for you, and that is the reality of vending here in New York City, is that you are such close neighbors with people. So you really ideally want to be the best booth neighbor you can be, to be honest, because one, the fact here in New York City is the small business community is pretty small, and not necessarily small. I shouldn't say that. I should say that a lot of the same vendors will frequent the same markets. So, meaning that I do this particular market fad quite a bit. So, I have run into and I know and see other small businesses who also do fad a lot as well. And so we will cross paths. You will meet these people over and over again. It is the same thing with the Astoria Holiday Market I'm going to do later this year. I already know that one of the artists, I very much remember him from last year, he's going to be there again because, again, that's what he frequents. He frequents all the Queens ones. being a good neighbor here when you're vending in New York City actually does really matter, because a lot of these people you're probably going to see again, or you're probably going to be next to again, and it's just be a good person, just be considerate. Like, if they told me, hey, this isn't in, like, this is in my space, but I'm also know that the organizer, she would have told me if I was in the wrong, because she has before. She's asked me to move things, she's asked me to readjust things, and I will happily do it because I don't know the layout. You know, I don't know the rules of the space. I don't know how she's kind of envisioned or set up everyone's space. So I am totally okay with her telling me, like, hey, you can't have that there. And she's done that for me before. But like, if my neighbors were annoyed with the fact that my stand was there, then instead of kind of like blocking off half my keychains, it would have been nicer for them to be like, hey, you know, this is actually part of our space. It's totally fine, but I just want to let you know, like, I'm going to sit here. So, you know, like, I don't know, just some sort of courtesy that way. I know I'm like griping on this because honestly, it was a bit of a pet peeve of mine because I've never had an experience like this yet, to be honest, at a market, and it's holiday season. So, like, everyone is really trying to put their best foot forward right now. Like, yeah, I think the rest of the night is just getting these bases together, restocking my packaging, and getting ready to tackle it all again tomorrow. If you guys have any questions thus far, go ahead and leave them below. But of course, I will see you tomorrow.
Okay, so I promised a booth tour, and so here we have keychains back here. This is what I'm talking about with the seat, like, is where they sit. So we've got cats back here. It's just so I think that people will see it, because when you come into my booth, you walk in, you see the dogs here, like a lot of keychains, and then if you like peek around the side, you see them here. I then also moved a bunch just right here, so it's again really easy, people with that chair there that they can grab and interact here, which was really important for me. That was kind of my thought process behind this. So this is that section. Then we pan over. This is like my checkout area slash the personalization area. As you can see, everything is pretty tall, so it's really difficult for people to actually like see me behind. So that's what's the problem. But I made this little stand, which is really exciting. Oop, I have to put more business cards out, which I will do. But I just put my square here. It's been really, really great for people to check out. I've had no problems with that. Then over here we have the Create Your Ornament station. This is obviously only seasonal, so when I don't have this regularly, this would be a lot lower, so people would see me. This would technically be like where I would talk to people, but for now, for the holidays, it's filled with the Build Your Own Ornament. This is my coffee, which will move. And then we've got the custom pet portrait station, which I always keep this as one unit. So we've got the keychains, the magnets, ornaments for the season, and the coasters. And then I'm also showcasing and advertising a tote bag that you can do online. But yeah, this is the whole booth. It's really simple, really cute. I'm really happy with it. I made that sign too, and it's held on with magnets. So that's really awesome. Show you a bit little of what's going on in the back. It's obviously chaotic, but as I mentioned, my wagon is over there. We've got the kind of hose going down here to the purifier. I've got a little packing station here. I was a little concerned about this falling, so I just stuck some coasters in there, but got stuff here and then everything here. All right, so there's the first one. Perfect. Other one. Oops, I forgot to throw this out. These jigs are lightsabers. So I use these for my products now, and it's so much easier now. I definitely think it saved me time yesterday, and that's actually why I was able to do so much, because of my jigs, to be honest. Especially for the ornaments, I've been having a lot of difficulty. Okay, we'll get that one working. Hopefully this is going to be all good. Of course, I have to assert that I'm the big dog. So I'm going to try to capture some of the darkness that I'm seeing. Hello. There we have the other one. You're welcome.
Are we able to put like the name on the
Oh, 100%.
Awesome.
Do you have are you wanting to do a custom portrait? I can take the photo, and then if you want to walk around and circle back in like 5 minutes. Perfect. Good if I put my camera open. Cutie. Awesome. Yes. All right. What are we putting on the back of this one?
Yeah,
ISLA.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a preference on the font style? Typewriter. Solid choice. It's been very popular this weekend, which warms my heart because I put it on there really for my preference, that font, because I've always had like a nostalgia for typewriters. But I don't know, it's ever been like the top one. But this weekend, everyone, maybe this is my neighborhood, you know? And I love that I can now exit out and like go back into the software. Generating preview. Come on. This is Issa's done. I will, of course, package it up for you guys. So I just like to show the final product because then you get all packaged and like don't want to open it. Is one bag okay for both the ornaments and pins? Okay. Just want to double check. I mean, they are getting prepackaged very nicely to gift each separately. So.
Going to the same owner. So.
Oh, okay. Very good. Cousin has both of them.
Yes.
Love it. What kind of dog is Cricket? Is it?
She's a golden.
Oh, she is okay, but she's like the super tiny one.
Yes.
You don't see. I feel like I don't see a lot of those, like the really tiny ones. I always see like the big ones or like the medium ones, like those like in between. I don't always see like the tiny ones. Yeah, I was gonna say she definitely looks more poodle.
Yeah.
First, I'll show you this one before I package it up. So there we've got Evie's.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. And for being so awesome and coming back and supporting my business, I would like to gift you a tote bag.
Oh my God.
So I really appreciate you guys coming back after coming by the craziness yesterday. I'm like, okay, we'll make the mission.
Oh,
I really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good holidays.
A little less busy. I obviously have been able to look up and have a little bit of a break, so that's really nice. But also means we'll see what sales happen. But yeah, so far it's been really good again. And ornaments have been the top seller, and some people have gotten keychains, which is really, really awesome. And yeah, I'll check in later, I guess, when we're almost done. But yeah, definitely a little bit slower. It is picking up now, though, which is typical for Sundays. Usually later it picks up, and we're going to get back to work.
Are like doing the rounds. Hello, y'all back. All right, so let me show you all three of them. Oops, cancel. So we have the first one. Turn yours up. And then we've got the Australian. Yes, it does. It does. That's why I have that one there. It's like the most kind of like handwritten kind of feel. You guys looking to do a custom portrait? Okay, yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know, okay? So I just have literally the template like on my screen and I just try to match them together and not move stuff, so yeah. Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's a little, it doesn't register the same way, so a little bit different, but pretty much, yeah, I just like made the template myself and I just have it as like my template on my screen to try to drop them to make it easier. I used to not use this and definitely took me longer to get things done. I was like, wow. If you guys want to walk around and like circle back in 5 minutes, I'll have the portrait ready then. Yep. Did you guys also want like a paper bag for everything that you've got or? Okay, I wasn't sure.
I really appreciate the packaging.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Happy holidays. Yeah, right now it'll be about 10 minutes. Yep. Do you have a photo ready that you wanted for the portrait?
I think what are you only taking cash?
No. I take cash and card.
Oh, okay.
Oh, someone flipped my sign.
Oh, I was like, oh,
No, it's okay. Okay, we got Brady on the German. Yep, almost. I promise. Been so good.
All the markets too. So
Oh, wow. I'm honored. Hello. You're back.
Such a hit.
That's great.
Okay.
Ah.
Gotta do it for the other.
Awesome. Hello. Just this? Did you want to put any text on the back? It's free. It's included. You don't have to. There's no pressure. You don't have to personalize it. Yeah. Hello guys, it is Monday and we are gonna do a recap chit chat while you're having put away some of my keychains, and some of you are probably saying, Emma, why are you putting away your keychains when you have a market next weekend? Mainly it's because this is how I see my inventory. I don't have a count. I know I need to get better about that, and that's something I'm going to be looking into, is doing better on an inventory sheet of these. But in general, I just kind of need to see what I have, because I don't take every single design with me to every market, and I do change up what I bring depending where I'm going. For example, I know when I go to Empire stores, which is very touristy, I'll bring more random breeds like a Newfie or a German Shepherd or the Saint Bernard. Those are more breeds that could be potentially purchased, so I'll bring those, whereas I don't take those to like the market I did this weekend, because that's not typically a dog that you would see in that neighborhood. Are you done? Are you done playing? So in general, it was a successful weekend, I will say that. Now, a couple things. Again, this video is meant to be about what the reality is popping up in New York City. In short though, if you guys have any questions, also please put them in the comments below so I can address them for you. On Saturday, I made on average, this is averages because the thing in New York City too is you've got to accept multiple types of payments. Now, obviously sometimes if Wi-Fi is down or something's like wrong and you have to accept only cash, that can happen, and I totally understand. But in general, even if you're a maker, you got to accept card, at least. Like bare minimum, I would even say it's more important to actually accept contactless pay, because I will tell you right now, 98% of my transactions are always card. I do have some cash. People do pay cash. They don't not pay cash, so it is always good to have some change on you. But I do not carry around a lot of cash with me, even as change, because honestly, I don't get that much cash. Now, this can also vary, you know, market to market and location to location. So the location I was at this weekend is very much like more local community. It's not super touristy. There are people who are maybe like staying with a friend or something, but it's extremely very much local. And it was very cute. I actually saw two people who had purchased from me in the summer or had stopped by in the summer, and because they live in the neighborhood, and it's really fun. Like, people love going and exploring that market who live in the neighborhood. There are other markets I do where tourism is a lot bigger portion than locals. Doesn't mean there aren't locals. There are, that will come to those markets. But I can definitely tell you it's way, way more tourists. And so tourists typically will have cash on them. So sometimes those you'll get a little more cash, but in general, you gotta have all payment types. Another thing too to know is that Venmo also here in New York City is actually a really popular means of transaction. So I will say something that I think really helped me make my sales this weekend is I built that little kiosk stand where I have my point of sale for the card, where I have my business cards that people can take, and I have a little card that you can scan for my Venmo. I accept everything, and it's been really useful because people are just like, oh, can I do Venmo? And it's like right there. They scan, they pay me, super easy. And so if you are gonna vend or table in New York City, I really, really recommend that you accept all forms of payment. Have some change for cash. Make sure you have some sort of point of sales where you can accept card and contactless pay, so Apple Pay, Google Pay, and make sure you have a Venmo QR code if you have Venmo. Cash App is not so much a thing here. It doesn't mean people don't do Cash App, but I don't feel like that one is as much ever asked about. I've literally never been asked to do Cash App. Everyone does Venmo. So that is the one that you want to make sure you have set up if you're going to vend in New York City. And let's talk about the booth neighbor only one more time. I know you guys are probably like, Emma, we're sick about hearing about this vendor booth neighbor. Now, to be honest too, I feel bad because they did purchase from me. They were very curious about my booth the whole time, which is fine. I expect vendors to be very curious about my booth. I even had someone come over who was at a table and was like, I see the blue light. And I had to come over and see what this is about. She's like, oh my gosh, and she's really excited. So she took a card though, because she wanted to order online. I was like, amazing. I actually do know. I didn't have confirmation before, and I now know it was. Thankfully, I was able to catch a bunch of people looking at my keychains, and I asked them, oh, hey, are you looking for something? And I did have one girl ask me, she says, oh yeah, I'm looking for a cat. Now my front board was only dogs. Now I did that originally because the idea was, the way I had set it up, as I showed, was that people could look straight back and see my cats. That was the idea. But the problem was, because these people literally were standing in that little cove that I made for my customers, they like moved out of the way, and then she kind of like shifted and shimmied back there. And it was not a good customer experience. Building these experiences can be really difficult because, again, you book a space, and typically the spaces are 4 foot by 4 foot, 6 foot by 4 foot, or 8 foot by 4 foot. So essentially the only kind of length extension, you can just kind of up your length. You can't really up your depth. And I've done this setup multiple times at other places and it's been fine. So I think unfortunately it was just an issue there. And I do know it affected my keychain sales, which is a little sad because for me, my keychain sales are almost like an upsell, or it is the ability for me to make more sales because they are my lowest ticket item and they are quick. And that is the whole reason that I developed this part of my business, so that I had this option for people, because I've had a lot of people when I'm at a 30-minute wait who are not able to stay. I even had a woman, she ended up having to take a card and she was like, oh, I'll order online, because she was like I suddenly had a rush and I had 4 people come to me who wanted custom pet portraits. That's fine. There are going to be people who see that is what they want. They don't want these, and that's okay. But I do have these options as something that is very quick for people to do. So let's get into the sales. So we did do really well. I will admit, I am very, very happy. I had a personal best on Saturday. I typically, by myself, I can average on a really, really good market anywhere between $800, and the max I've ever done is like $950 by myself, aka the one time my partner did do a pop-up with me. We pretty much doubled sales because he's able to do the keychains and he's able to talk to people, he's able to help people a lot more than I am able to. Not that I don't try to help, I do, I really try my best at every moment to help as much as I can. At the same time, especially when I have a lineup of custom portraits, like my focus is to turn those around as quickly as I possibly can. So my ability to just be there for people and answer questions or help them find their pet. So for me, that range is like the high end for me at a market, at a booth. Keep in mind too that every small business you see on here, it's gonna differ. It's gonna vary on what are the price range of their items, time, or how much material costs go into that product. There's a lot of factors that go into what's considered a good day. So that's why I always try to remind people, like, take my sales and numbers as a grain of salt, because it really does vary. And I really encourage you to figure out what's a good number for you, and for you to say, this is a good market, this is not a good market for me, etc., etc. So enough chit chat, let's get to the numbers if you're interested. All of my numbers are going to be on an average because, again, as I mentioned, I take all payments. So I've had Venmos, I had some cash, and then I had the card transactions, which I can see on my Shopify. So I know on Saturday, I did on average $1,000, which is a personal record. I am so thrilled. When I saw that, I was in literal shock. I was like, oh my God. Now it is a holiday season, so a lot of small businesses, this is when we make our money. So we want to see numbers like that. We really do. And I am honestly over the moon about it because last year is when I started my business, and last holiday season, I remember I think I made a max of like 700 one time, and that was really good for me. So the fact that I beat my own record from last year is just amazing, and I'm so proud and I'm so happy. And then on Sunday, I do know it was slower because I was able to like look around more, and I actually was able to like chat with my vendor friends, which I always love doing, but I always feel bad because I don't always have time to do that once we open shop. So that was really nice and fun to chit chat. So in total, I made around 1,800 at this market this weekend. The table fee was, the total for this one was 320. So 320 was for the whole weekend, so it's Saturday and Sunday included. So I made a really good profit. I also had to take an Uber twice. The first Uber was around, I think, $45. And then the second Uber I had to do was closer to like $60. So did have to spend a little bit on transport, but still, even with those sales, very, very happy with that. I'm going to tell you right now, my guess is ornaments, custom pet portrait ornaments as number one. Oh, okay, we found it. We found it. So if I look down here, you just have to scroll down on your reports and then you'll find something like this. Okay, this is cool. I've never really looked at this. Okay, average order value was $32.78. That does sound about right for me. And I was very much right. Total sales by product. I guess ornaments were the top sellers. I was correct. It's not telling me the full breakdown. So ornaments under market, I actually have 2 variations, but I only brought, I think, a total of 6 of the silhouette ornaments, and I sold out of all of it. But I know on the other flip side, I did a lot of custom ones. So I am not surprised that ornaments are my top seller. That was then actually followed by custom keychains. So I actually wasn't sure if keychains or magnets. The single magnets actually were the next most popular. To me, they were like maybe the same. They are very close together, but technically custom keychains were the top sellers before the magnet solo. So I have one which is just a single pet, and then I have a one that's a double pet. Magnet solo, single pets was after that. And then the third product I sold was the coasters that day. So that was also another interesting thing. I did see coasters pick up, which doesn't always happen. So I hope this video was helpful if you're considering doing a pop-up here in New York City, or maybe you're just curious how exactly it works being a small business here in New York City and popping up for the holidays. So thanks so much for hanging out, and until next time.